What's good YouTube, Ben here, welcome to the next video on the channel. In this one, I'm going to give you my next Steel Path viable build on Warframe. This is going to be for Frost Prime. Let's get into this. Alright, before we jump in, I want to mention this will work for normal Frost too if you only have normal Frost and not Frost Prime. Secondly, this is a Steel Path viable build, so whilst it's viable for you to use it on the Steel Path, it may not be good to get you to level 9,999 enemies, which most players aren't going to go for anyway, so if that's what you're after, then probably look at a different build. But let's jump into the build. So, we're running Corrosive Projection as the Aura mod, which enemies lose negative 80% armor, so you've got quite a bit of armor reduction on enemies, which really helps with this build. We've got Redirection for 100% shield capacity. Health conversion, so health orbs grant 450 armor, stacking up to 3 times. Taking damage will consume a stack after 3 seconds. This becomes very important for part of the build, which I'll explain in a minute. Blind Rage for 99% ability strength and negative 55% ability efficiency. Steel Fiber for 100% armor. Equilibrium, health pickups give 110% energy, and energy pickups give 110% health. This is quite good for energy conservation and gaining energy, because you'll gain energy from health pickups instead of energy drops, which can be quite more frequent. Prime Continuity, 55 plus 55% ability duration. Biting Frost, which is one of Frost's augment mods. Frost gains plus 200% critical chance and plus 200% critical damage against frozen enemies, which is very important for the build because of this mod, Icy Avalanche. It's an avalanche augment, so his ultimate ability augment. Allies with an affinity ranger coated in ice that grants 60 overguard per enemy hit. Overguard increases by 20% of your armor once per enemy. So you gain a whole bunch of overguard thanks to the different amount of armor you have. Between Steel Fiber and health conversion, you'll end up with at least, I'd say, like, easily, if you get it at maximum, around 1400 armor. So you gain a bunch of armor, along with a bunch of energy thanks to Equilibrium. So basically we're going for an Overguard build, and in the Arcane slots we've got Arcane Battery, gain 0.30 maximum energy per armor point up to 1000 energy, which is important because we only have 339 energy out the gate. That will increase it by a quite considerable amount. We've got Arcane Ice Storm, rank 5 on enemy frozen, gain plus 2% ability strength and plus 2% ability duration for 15 seconds, stacks up to 20 times. So you get a bunch of ability strength and a bunch of duration for this Arcane, which is also very important for the build to keep our abilities going longer and stronger. But that's the main build. We've got 155% duration, 45% efficiency, 100% range, and 199% strength. You could run something like Stretch over Steel Fiber. I choose not to because the armor really does help with keeping him alive. Not to mention, you don't really need to run stuff like Flow thanks to the way the mod's set up. In the Exilus slot, which I do have unlocked, you could run, I would highly recommend running Growing Power. So on status effect with weapon squad increases personal, but that's Aura, sorry, no, Exilus even. It's Power Drift, 15% ability strength, and plus 30% chance to resist knockdowns. If you have the space, I'd recommend running it. I still need to form him one more time in order to be able to fit it, because it's a 9 cost, and I've only got 6 left. So that'll be something I do later, but I would recommend adding that mod on as well. But without any further ado, let's jump into the mission. I'll show you what this thing can do. Oh, also, something I want to point out as well, I didn't point out a minute ago. So I've subsumed Nourish over his second ability, which with Nourish, it only gives you viral procs, but it also allows you to gain more energy from sources of energy, meaning you can keep your energy high, because you kind of need to with this build. But the whole goal here is to go ahead and freeze a bunch of enemies to grab their overguard. But yeah, let's jump in. I also want to mention we're here at Oxymoko in the Void, and quickly I'll explain why. So Oxymoko is one of the latest game areas of the game in the Void, meaning you're dealing with higher level enemies, not to mention you're dealing with the Corrupted here, and the Corrupted you deal with enemies with just health, enemies with health and shields, and enemies with health, shields, and high armor, giving you a more varied example of what your weapon / Warframe can do. Let's jump in. So, immediately we start by using a Frost and Freezing, so we get a bit of Overguard, and thanks to our mod setup, we're also going to be able to grab... Oh, crap. Oh, that was close. Okay, we almost got hit by that, which would not have been fun. But thanks to our mod setup, you get a bunch of criticals on their own, thanks to Biting Frost. Now, of course, if you already run a decent critical base weapon anyway, you're not going to run into too many issues going for crits. Thankfully. Then, of course, we're going to go ahead and do another freeze, grab some more overguards. Now, it can be a little bit hard getting him set up because on their own, overguard or overshields aren't easy to accumulate thanks to Steel Path damage. However, once you get him going, he's pretty easy to keep running, especially on missions where you've got a lot more enemies because of having more enemies to get overguard from. The more enemies that are near you, the better your overguard's going to become, which you'll see now. So you'll get a bunch more overguard depending on what you hit. I'm hoping that from here I'm going to be able to get a bunch of energy, which I do. Our energy maximums are also now increasing thanks to our armor stacks. So as you can see, we have a bunch more energy now thanks to the armor stacks we've been getting. Essentially, with this build, what you need to do is you need to keep taking enemies out, because the more you take out enemies, the more overguard you get, the more energy you get, and the more you can keep the build running. But he's very fun to use nowadays thanks to his abilities being a lot more universal. And for example, let's say a Tomos, which I'm running right now, which is a pretty decent crit weapon. You know, you're not going to be running into many issues with running into stuff like that. Another cool way to give you energy as well, if you don't already know, is if you have the Xenuric style, you can just go into here and quickly activate this ability, Wellspring, and it will give you a bunch of energy, which is really beneficial, especially if you activate Nourish, because then we're going to get a bunch of energy over time. So if you do run out of energy, it's no real issue, because you can just get more. And then, of course, we're going to activate our Overguard. That's not good, because I need to reload. There we go. And if you have a weapon that's easily capable of taking out enemies, which, again, if you're running into issues with certain builds, look on my channel. I more than likely have videos on a lot of, well, at this point, I have a lot of them on a bunch of different weapons. So it will give you, hopefully, a good amount of weapons that you can build if you desperately need to. I need to move before I get eviscerated by those cannons. Perfect. Give me overguards, and then I'm going to go ahead and take out these enemies. Grab a bunch more health, which in turn, thanks to equilibrium, we're going to get a bunch of stuff for that. We're going to go ahead and do that there. Get a bunch of over. We're going to do it again. Get a bunch of overguard. Now, ideally, you can push his overguard to like 35,000 if you have the enemies to do so and the energy to do so. So, of course, we're able to keep the build running. We've still got Nourish activated for a minute, which is nice. Now, I'm going to activate Nourish again, which is going to lower my energy stocks. However, because of its ability to get a bunch more energy, thanks to its abilities, we're able to keep the build running a lot longer as well. We're going to run through, quickly activate Avalanche again, get a bunch more overguards, and then we're going to go ahead and just start taking out these enemies, which, again, not really that difficult to do, thankfully. That's not fun. Move out of the way of that. And we've got the Acolyte coming in, which is excellent. Get a bunch of overguard here. Going to activate a bunch more. Bingo. Right, there's the Acolyte. I'm going to go into my Incarnate form for Atomos. Start rinsing the Acolyte. Boom. There we go. Acolyte gone. Didn't stand a chance. As long as you've got weapons that can take on Acolytes, you are pretty set here, I'm not going to lie. We're going to go ahead and activate more Overguard. We've got 16k now. Like I said, he's a little bit slow to start because you do need to get his Overguards up. But once you get his Overguard up, that's basically it. You are set for the entirety of the mission. And you can just do what you need to do then. Have fun, chill out. Like, Frost is infinitely really fun to play like this. And he's super simple. The build doesn't take anything too crazy to do or anything. Also, for those wondering where you get the subsume ability Nourish, you get it by dissolving Grendel into the Helminth. So yeah, that's basically the build. If you want to see more like this on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps with that YouTube algorithm. Honestly, you guys do not know how much it helps. Don't forget you can also support the channel even further by becoming a channel member from as little as 99 pence per month. Any or all money that comes from YouTube or Twitch or whatever goes back into my content, like upgrading my PC, getting new hardware, that kind of thing. Don't forget you can also support the channel even further by jumping on my live streams. I do live stream 4 days a week at the moment, which is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And when I stream here on YouTube and over on Twitch. My streams on YouTube are in the shorts form feeds, more for mobile. If you want to catch the exact same streams at the exact same time in full 1080p, then feel free to join me on Twitch. That link is in the description. below.